A YouTuber named the Starbreed notices a bright white object floating upwards and starts recording. The weird object somewhat looks like a street lamp, except it's way up in the air and seems to be heading in the Starbreed's direction at a fast rate of speed. Moments later, it is only a fraction of its original size and hovering directly overhead, twice as high as before. The Starbreed continues to record in total disbelief, not even so much as making a sound, just quietly zooming in. Just when it looks like the unidentified flying object is about to go away, it does something completely different instead. He records a brief strobe light effect and then the UFO is gone. Looking back at the footage, the Starbreed has little doubt that this was actually an abduction attempt on him that was aborted at the last possible second. I'm not sure if this was a real encounter or just CGI. As I said before, it almost looks like the UFO could be one of the street lamps edited. Take a look at the evidence again and let me know what you think really happened here. A fire erupted at St. Anthony's School in Octono Falls, Wisconsin on February 21st, 2012. Damaging the interior beyond recognition. At the time, the school had 42 students. Portions of the exterior of the 55-year-old school were visibly damaged, while a layer of soot and ash coated the attached St. Anthony Church. Father Joel Sember said that the parish was taking the fire very personally. In his words, "This is part of their family, it's part of their community, and so they are taking this as if it happened to their home." While the fire was certainly devastating, the school was empty at the time, so at least no one was harmed. Father Sember noted that the fire could have been far more destructive had the fire department not been so efficient. The fire is believed to have been intentional, although it's unclear if they ever found the culprit. Australian YouTuber Sam Marsh is exploring far north Queensland when something odd crawls out of the forest to better observe him. Down the dirt road stands a tall creature roughly the same height as Sam. 53 seconds is when you can see a prominent head jutting forth as the creature inches back into the forest from whence it came. Sam walks to where it was and finds a well-worn path leading deeper into the dark forest. Looking back at him is the carefully concealed figure with a long neck and a white head. At 1 minute and 48 seconds it turns back to look at him. What is it? Beyond this fence lays an abandoned asylum that a YouTuber named TGF Bro and his friends badly want to explore. The inside looks like a tattered mansion on the verge of collapse. Strange noises follow them as they progress deeper into the interior of the asylum.
It's dark. Did you get that on camera?
When they get deep enough, TGF Bro pulls out a Ouija board and begins directing questions to whoever or whatever is near.
If there's anybody there, please move the triangle to yes.
The group hears a loud bang directly behind them, and they all take off. I noticed that the third person was off camera though, so maybe that person made the commotion and then acted scared. Then again, old asylums are supposed to be notoriously haunted, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Ouija board really did bring spirits near. This video of a shaky, alien-looking pod looks like it really shouldn't exist anywhere on planet Earth, let alone some random person's basement. The way it moves from left to right without being touched makes me think that some strange life form is about to burst forth. Most of the comments agree that this could be some sort of egg or cocoon with a foreign host inside. Note how strange furry hair seems to protrude from sections of its hardened exterior, further indicating that this is in fact a living organism of some kind. The video ends before we can see what hatches. But whatever it is, I just hope it isn't something that is harmful. Who's there? Your worst nightmare. Posted by Deadhead Gillies to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor says there's something knocking in the walls, and we don't have to take her word for it because she has video proof. It sounds like someone is knocking insistently at the door, only there's no one there. She says this has continued for 2 months. She's not the only one to have had such an experience. Redditor Ritual Maniac writes in the comments that the same knocking pattern occurred at a house she once lived in, along with other paranormal happenings like voices, doors opening, running, etc. When they moved, everything, including the nightmares and unexplainable bad feelings, all vanished. The Redditor says this knocking wasn't heard initially and just started happening randomly as of late. At one point when her boyfriend lived there, he even heard laughing and whispering. The Redditor said after sending the videos to her grandmother, a pastor was supposed to come and visit, but of course an ongoing event began earlier this year and prevented that. Some in the comments think it's the pipes, others say it's likely a pesky animal, but myself and many others are leaning towards the paranormal. Game of Onions writes, let him in already, must be cramped in there, but I wouldn't take that advice. A YouTuber named Stuart Drake says that he found this old VHS tape which only had 1999 written on the side and nothing more. Someone is exploring an old schoolhouse all alone, presumably at the turn of the century. The video looks pretty ordinary except for a few glitches like this one. Stuart Drake is checking out a small dead-end room when the deep rumbling sounds of electrical disturbance return. He turns around and comes face to face with something I'm not sure I even believe can be true. A lot of people swear that Slenderman is just a myth, but this video seems to say otherwise. If this tape is real and correctly dated, then this would mean Slenderman has been active for over 20 years. Despite its name, the doll room in the historic Jefferson Hotel is a sinister place, and this video shared by the hotel's YouTube channel confirms this. Listen closely.
And some more dolls to our doll room. That particular doll is over 100 years old.
As you can see, the manager hears a noise down the hallway, and as soon as he turns to look, one of the dolls falls down in the room. Listen again. He enters to see what happens.
Another little video tour that I do when we add some more items to the rooms or whatever. So we added some more dolls to this room, which is our dolls and stuff room. And as I walked in the room, I heard a noise going down the hall right there.
He replaces the doll. But it doesn't get any less creepy. To me, it looks like it's watching him. This paranormal crew's third visit to this prison did not disappoint. CVS Paranormal enters Dorchester Prison, a criminal facility in which executions have been carried out. In previous investigations of this prison, the team has captured some truly eerie figures on camera, like this one. As the team enters, whispering is heard on the audio.
This is a big main entrance where down there is big main entrance where down there is
A second EVP captures a low growl.
Prisoner was in here. Prisoner was in here.
This is shortly followed by a door closing or opening.
Sounded like a growl or something. Like a growl or something.
And scratching noises.
This is a big one. Yeah, definite noises.
This singing is what's really chilling.
I swear I just heard singing. It sounds like it's coming from here as well. Soldier. Oh!
But it's when you're not searching for ghosts that they come find you.
Trust me.
It seems Dorchester Prison is truly rife with activity, but whether it's good or evil is anyone's guess. Michael Luongo catches a shapeless form floating around his basement that he can't explain. You can see it best during the first 5 seconds of the video, when one half stands out against the steps. It's also barely visible in the reflection of the television here at 10 seconds. And when Michael turns back at the stairs, it's already gone. I'm thinking that there might be something wrong with the camera to make this blurry object appear, but then again, it does happen to be floating right above this access panel behind the sofa, so maybe Michael should open it up and see if anything is waiting for him in the wall. A YouTuber named Leo Tran is challenged to throw a plastic bottle cap into a trash bag from across the room. At 1 minute into the video, you can see something is out of the ordinary, but at 1 minute and 23 seconds, you can see a small face pop up in the window. The small face stays in the window for approximately 33 seconds and ducks out of the way when Leo goes to collect the trash bag. Does this look real or edited to you? D-Master Flex is camping overnight in a haunted cemetery. They get bored and let their guard down long enough to play a game.
What the? What the?
Yo, hold on.
The tower of Jenga blocks collapses seemingly all by itself. The tower was clearly built on a level surface, and there appears to be no strong winds to blow it over. I guess it could have just been a string, but if not, then this incident is almost certainly paranormal. In 2014, Paranormal Lana created her channel, and it soon became one of the fastest growing channels in the scary community. Her channel had reached over 50,000 subscribers, until on a September day in 2015, her channel vanished without a trace or reason. Since then, theories have abounded online about what caused her disappearance, though some think she just became bored with the platform. A more disturbing theory has picked up interest. Shortly before her disappearance, she posted the following on social media. Had a pretty scary stalking incident, so unfortunately I'm having to change the way I run my social media. No more Facebook. Since then, many have wondered if this stalker had a part in her disappearance. It's certainly plausible, but since there's been no update since 2015, we will never know for sure. Who would win in a swamp fight, a deer or an alligator? You're about to see. Published by Hazy Season in June of 2019. This scary video was captured at Squaw Creek Reservoir in Glen Rose, Texas. At first, the fisherman thinks he's looking at a huge fish.
Look at those. What is that? Is that a dead fish?
But as he gets closer, he realizes it's a deer in the water. The deer is no longer alive, and it's being pulled down into the water's depths.
Looks like a deer, dude. It's a dead deer. Holy
by something that is so far unseen. The crew is wondering what's gotten hold of it. They watch for a moment and soon realize a gator's got him. They then let nature take its course.
Dude, what happened? Did it just like fall down this hill? Holy.
Although we probably all could have guessed that the gator would win this battle, I'm sure we were all rooting for the underdog. This young fawn has contracted an illness that is most likely CWD. It alters between standing paralyzed in place and spinning in circles, its neck rotating wildly all the while. At times it looks like its neck is going to snap, like here for instance. Maybe it is even trying to put itself out of its own misery. One thing that's strange is that this deer seems to prefer standing in areas with sunlight. Whether or not this sunlight-seeking behavior is based on instinct or actually provides some sense of relief is hard to tell for sure. YouTuber Yvonne thinks her apartment is haunted. Posted in January of 2018, Yvonne writes that she heard a clanking noise in her home and turned on the camera to try to capture the noise. She notes in the video description, "Our cabinets are brand new, no way for any rodent to get in. Also, they are the kind that don't swing shut on their own. You have to physically close them." The short clip shows a shot of her kitchen, assumedly from where the sound was coming. After a moment, a large clattering is heard as a cupboard opens of its own accord, and something from inside falls to the floor.
Oh my god.
This isn't the first case of odd happenings in the home. According to Yvonne, strange occurrences have been going on for a while. What do you think? Is it time to move? Afnan Arash is plagued by paranormal activity wherever he goes, and now not even his home offers respite from the constant hauntings. Even though we don't speak the same language, I can still feel the anger and desperation in his voice as he demands for the ghost to leave him be.
Tak habis mengganggu hidup aku. Hah? Mana?
Afnan stares in disbelief at the table of broken plates. It's hard to tell if he threw a rock or something to break the plates himself or if a poltergeist did it. The right half of the table is not on camera, which makes me suspicious because that's also probably his throwing arm. However, he sounds so genuinely terrified that I think this video is paranormal. A YouTuber named Blamzuka is nervously waiting for an intense water park ride to begin. He knows something is wrong as soon as his friend deploys and he is still stuck in the tube. Soon it becomes apparent that getting out is not going to be easy, especially considering the door is sealed shut by a control panel that seems not to be working properly.
You okay in there?
If the ride starts with Blamzuka in this position, he could easily land wrong and cause some damage. He is forced to remain in the tube with his hands over his shoulders, almost like a casket, with cold water running down his back the whole time.
Keep your head back.
They eventually open the door and get him into the second tube. When this tube fails in the exact same way, they finally send him down the ride on a third tube. Judging from his scared reaction, I'm surprised he did not quit when the same thing happened a second time. These friends are staying at a hotel when they see flashing lights coming from the bathroom mirror and hear rumbling noises on the other side. It sounds like a classic haunted hotel setting at first, but when they take the bathroom mirror and flip it around, they see two holes that look to me like someone was spying on them.
Scratches here and here that you can see directly through the mirror. Directly through.
But this situation gets way more intense than just a peephole. Much to their surprise and horror, there was also a rectangular hole cut into the wall leading directly into the next room over. Whoever cut this hole could literally climb through the wall anytime they wanted to, day or night. They could silently watch the group in the mirror to know when they were leaving, then climb through to mess with their stuff, or worse still, they would know when you were about to go to bed, and could enter while they were all asleep to do who knows what. I don't know how any of this ended, but I do know their lives could have been at risk if they didn't discover this in time. I think this situation is real, because I don't think they would destroy a hotel wall just to make a video. Hopefully they called the police and caught whoever invaded their privacy. When you're searching for ghosts, you may just find them. Published in August of 2019 by YouTuber Alex Paranormal, he writes, "Me and a friend went back to a known haunted location. This haunted location, as Alex adds in the comments section, is an abandoned restaurant and vineyard in the countryside of Hampshire, England. Using ghost tracking tools, they do appear to sense some paranormal presence in the room. For one, the temperature drops. For another, the spirit box seems to be capturing some communication. As those in the comments note, but it's at 16 minutes 50 seconds where your nightmare begins.
You hear that? What's up?
You can see a shadow figure move past in the archway right before the group heads into the kitchen. To whom does this shadow belong? Is it an evil entity of some kind? Don't know about you, but I wouldn't stick around long enough to find out. There's an area in Ithaca, New York that's hiding a pretty creepy secret found by a TikToker named Lil Pack. Go on Google Earth and enter these coordinates to find it. As you walk under a bridge, keep looking up and to your left and zoom in after every step. Eventually you'll find the same pale-faced creature poking out from the shadows that Lil Peck found before. This alien-looking face almost has to be the work of graffiti and not a real bridge-dwelling monster. It looks like it's peeking out from the shadows at first, but I'm pretty sure this actually is a steel support column and not a darkened corridor. But still, I could be totally wrong. The only way to tell for sure would be to travel to this bridge in Ithaca and see what happens to you, if anything. When something goes bump in the night, you just better hope you're not working the night shift. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by MX Fear of Dogs. The Redditor writes, friend works for a pharmacy as security. He was notified the alarm was going off at 2 a.m., which is triggered by internal sensors. He arrived and found nothing wrong, but reviewed the footage to find the cause and saw this. He said this was the security guard's first encounter with the paranormal, if it is in fact paranormal activity. The footage shows a shelving unit pressed up against a wall, full of products and assumedly medicine. Watch the fourth shelf. Several items can be seen falling with force. One hits the ground and skids away out of sight. The other hits the ground and appears to break into 6 separate rectangular pieces. While most in the comments of this video are cracking pharmacy jokes, some are asking thoughtful questions about the history of the building, or whether or not something like this has happened in the past. Others who say they're pharmacists or caregivers claim this strange stuff happens all the time in their line of work. Allison333, however, gets the last laugh, writing, I guess you can say they had a short shelf life. We see what you did there, Allison. A TikTok user named He Watches When I Sleep records a ghost wailing up and down his street in the middle of the night. He lives in the southwest and is sure it is the spirit of La Llorona, the vengeful spirit who hovers over water late at night. You can hear some other dogs in the background though, so I'm wondering if this was just a really old dog trying to howl. Work. This spirit must have a presentation coming up. Redditor ZJOSA shares this video, which they say happened to a close friend while working late.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas. Desde allá de la esquina, mira. Desde hace rato estaba escuchando que se mueven. No mames.
The chair spins on its own. Many in the comments are skeptical and wonder why the woman started recording in the first place, but the Redditor has an answer for it.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas. Desde allá de la esquina, mira. Desde hace rato estaba escuchando que se mueven las cosas, en serio. No mames.
Many others say her fearful reaction seems legit. I don't want to dismiss this too quickly because I agree that her reaction seems real. I'm going to reserve judgment on this one. Which side are you on here? Number 7. Asking you shall receive. Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit, Paranormal Popcorn writes that his friend Jason sent him this scary video. The video shows a digital clock. It's 5:57. Jason says he was awoken by a loud noise, so he entered the living room and found an overhanging light fixture swinging wildly back and forth. He says they haven't had an earthquake as far as he knows. He explains that an old hutch in the room once showed reflections in the glass, whereas the door of the hutch was locked in place. It was found hanging open. He shows that a couple of other overhanging lights are not swinging, only this one by the hutch is. He explains that this happened once before, and so he believes he has an entity on his hands. He starts addressing his girlfriend's departed grandmother who owned the hutch. Her name was Manny. He asks the entity if she has a message for him or would like to communicate. He asks the entity to move something or make a noise to signal that she's there. Though out of frame, an old chair slides loudly on its own.
Please move something and let me know that you're here.
He asks again and the chair slides a second time.
Or give me a sign that it's you. That would mean a lot.
He checks beneath the table and nothing is there. While Jason certainly seems calm, though bewildered, he probably shouldn't be interacting with the spirit. As Redditor Christian Sands writes in the comments, if this is real, I would tell your friend to stop immediately asking the entity to move things. It's like an open invitation to a long-term relationship. Would you like a long-term relationship with this ghost? Yeah, me neither. Everyone who owns a dog knows that they can sense things we humans don't. Posted by Redditor ChewyBone02, he writes, I think my dog had a crisis. And he isn't wrong. The video shows two dogs standing on a day sofa, looking out the window. The bigger one really starts to panic, its legs pushing the sofa so far from the window that he's stretched pretty impressively until he absolutely can't stretch anymore and pops down to the floor. Meanwhile, a number of orbs appear throughout the clip, drifting across the room. Is something outside spooking these dogs? Or is it something paranormal inside? After all, those orbs certainly point towards the latter. If only these dogs could talk and let us know what the answer truly is. Kenneth and Opie run a YouTube channel together called Team Creed. The two brothers are having a private conversation when a vehicle quietly rolls up directly beside them, and the driver looks over.
I don't know what you're looking over here for. Oh, heck no, I can't. Time for this. Dude, the guy is taking pictures. The guy is taking pictures? Why is he taking pictures of us? I don't know.
Eventually, the person gets out of their car and identifies themselves as a huge fan, which they certainly must be given they're able to spot Team Creed solely based on a nondescript gray van. At first, they try to tell him to politely move on, but when he insists on staying, Kenneth gets out of the car and tries to make some sense of the situation. Things get worse when the stranger mumbles out a bizarre proposition.
No, just give you some money and stay around for forever how long, you know?
To hang out with you?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I mean, you guys are what, homeless?
The stranger knows that Team Creed has been having some housing problems lately, and he seems to want to take advantage of them. The conversation takes a turn for the worst when Opie gets out and pins the creepy fan against a car to make it clear that he wants to be left alone. The fan finally relents, but listen to this part and tell me if he sounds merely disappointed or like he's already plotting revenge.
See you guys around, I guess.
Imagine going out for a relaxing day on the beach and seeing this mysterious figure walking just a couple of miles away. This tall man with a bright white head and all black clothes walks towards the water as if nothing is out of the ordinary. I will add that this area looks pretty lonely, and there's really no reason for anybody to dress up like Slenderman as a prank here. It's too bad the person filming wasn't able to get any closer, though I can certainly respect their desire to keep as much space as possible. A man named Dubai7 talks to himself while returning to the home he was chased out of to get some supplies. He is trying to grab this container when he is found and cornered. The door slams behind him and he runs away. As he is looking into the room he just escaped from, a different door slams shut. and no one is inside the room when he checks. On his way out, he sees what I assume is his old cat watching him. The poor animal is too afraid to come near. It jumps away moments before something unseen chases him out the door. Now outside, he looks over just in time to see the window shutters open and close by themselves way too deliberately to be caused by the wind. Published by Colbean Ari in January of 2009. The description claims that this lost tape was discovered and shown with permission from the government to warn others. The tape features some teenage boys going to explore their school's basement. As they say, strange noises have been heard coming from the basement. An urban legend has it that a former student dwells there. Soon they would discover the truth. After the boys wander around in the semi-darkness, they hear a rasping breath of an inhuman creature, and then they see it. The creature on all fours attacks. The boys flee, but the footage rolls on. What could it be? A true beast or a student film gone horribly wrong? YouTuber Franco TV sets out in this haunted graveyard to hunt down the witch's tomb. As he searches for it, he arrives at an abandoned part of the mausoleum.
I heard something move over here. I'm now getting closer to more of the abandoned area here.
He notices cobweb-covered straw wrapped around the gates.
Look how old these things are. So much cobwebs on them.
I'm not sure if this is ritualistic or not, but it's somehow very creepy. From one deep crypt, Franco hears whispering.
Listen. Whispering.
At another, he finds a bag of black candles abandoned outside of the gate, along with what looks like a voodoo doll and some photographs with writing on them.
Inside the bag, these are the pictures. Either somebody wants something bad to happen to them, there's writing on it too.
Does someone want something bad to happen to these women? This stuff gets even creepier.
And each mannequin doll has a picture of someone's face strapped to the face of it.
As he continues to examine the creepy findings, he hears a voice.
Someone.
Is someone else visiting this graveyard in the middle of the night? It sure seems like it.
Right over there. Someone's whistling. Yeah, fuck that.
Later, when he captures footage of a tomb, we can see what looks like a full-body apparition.
Right in there.
As Franco continues to identify creepy ritualistic items, he hears a man singing.
And then up there is something else. I don't know what that is. I hear voices, someone singing.
He arrives at the witch's tomb and immediately hears something. He spots a face briefly in the dark doorway, but it retreats.
See, I could probably get some stock footage from it or something. What the is that?
Did you see that?
Some stock footage from it or something. What the is that?
Is the witch hiding from Franco? Or is this one of the cemetery's many dark magic victims? I have no doubt that this place is haunted by many damaged souls, and it seems to continue to be a frequented site of dark magic witches as well. Franco had better hope he didn't get any of their magic on him. In the winter of 2012, this YouTuber was almost a goner when a mother black bear decided to charge at him, not once but twice. Speed Shooter XT was hunting in this Oregon forest when he encountered some bears nearby and began filming. The bear starts off by keeping her distance, but ultimately begins charging in his direction. The most scary part of this entire video is the look on the mama bear's face when she begins approaching, played in slow motion. The man managed to scare the bear away by being loud, and shortly after, she charges towards him again before the video ends. Luckily, this YouTuber got away safely, considering black bears can run up to 40 miles per hour. So if the bear did chase him, he wouldn't have standed a chance. This school is said to be haunted by the Sir, and YouTube channel Om Vlogs is here for it. Upon first entering the dilapidated building, something disturbs them.
इसके अंदर और एक जगह कोई बंदा था यहाँ की तरफ से गया हमें देखते ही.
Later, they see what appears to be a sheet flowing between brick pillars in the darkness. After getting closer to investigate, they grow even more disturbed as what looks like a face seems to float upward and out of sight.
ये ऊपर कहाँ चढ़ रहा है गया ये कहाँ गया जो क्या था आपने ये अजीब है भाई.
As they're contemplating what the figure was, a crashing sound resounds beside them.
ये जो चीज़ है ना फेस था वो डरावना सा तो भाई इस तरह से क्या है तो कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा चल के देखेगा.
They approach the pillar again and are frightened as the face peers around the corner.
कुछ जानवर है क्या ये? नहीं यार ये किस है वो कैमरा को जूम करना पर देखो लाइट करना मैं तो यार जूम करने में दिक्कत होती है एक हाथ से. ये देखो ये अजीब सा लग रहा है यार ये क्या है ये.
Again they approach the pillar and the face is there.
ये है क्या अगर ये को डराने के लिए करता ना तो यार इतना लंबा वो देखो कहाँ तक जा रहा है भाई. तो
The demon, or whatever it is, appears to be 7 or 8 feet tall. They approach the pillar again, and this time, it's gone.
आपका हाथ भी यहाँ तक ही पहुँच रहा है यार.
Later, they run into the thing again in the darkness.
भाई लग जाती यार अभी तो ये क्या हो रहा है यार अभी लग जाती सच में लग जाती है यार. ओए ठीक है भाई ये क्या है अरे यार.
What is it? Is this the Sir? I don't know exactly what the Sir is, but I'm intrigued after seeing this video. From the looks of it, I assume that his ghost is protecting the school from intruders. Does your workplace have a paranormal whirlpool? Mine neither, but YouTuber Matusis does, and she's captured the crazy anomaly on video. Take a look.
¿Qué será? Parece que alguien está haciendo gira.
Sí, sí.
This is a hospital in San Miguel de Tucumán, but what is causing this? At first, I thought perhaps it was a fan or vacuum blowing from above, but when it began to create this strange shape in the foam, I wasn't so sure, but YouTubers in the comments have some theories.
¿Qué será, no? Parece una mano, ¿qué es eso?
Pide ayuda.
Others refute Diego's assessment.
Yo también
pensé que era, pero... Viste, está mejor que cuida a mi sobrina.
I agree that it's not sodium or entities, so what is it? A vortex into another world? I think only someone brave enough to dive in could find out. You head outside for a nice peaceful evening stroll when you encounter this, posted to TikTok by Daniela Duque. The uploader says in the clip, "Something happened that changed my life, check." The clip shows at least a dozen people all dressed in white wandering down the empty street carrying torches. It's not clear what's going on here. Many in the comments are saying this looks like the set from a movie. Others suggest the horror film Midsommar. While some think this group is cult-like, perhaps performing a ritual. Still others consider this is more likely the Purge. Are you ready for it? I'm not. McJuggernuggets is a famous YouTuber who comes home one day only to find evidence of a serious break-in. Some of his possessions are missing, things that he is sure were in his room earlier before.
Somebody took the hard drive.
Hard drive to what?
All my behind the scenes. Somebody literally came into the house and must have taken this shit. I'm going to check the security camera.
He argues with his father for a bit about the likelihood of someone breaking in, but the security video does not lie.
Hold on, here it comes.
Sure enough, some stranger cases the house by knocking on the door a few times, even going so far as trying the knob. Soon he uses a long tool to pry open a window and reaches inside to quickly scoop up a nearby hard drive before taking off.
Oh my god, dude.
Much to McJuggernuggets' amazement, the window was right next to his bed. He soon comes to the sickening realization that this person, who was perhaps a stalker, literally reached into his room to retrieve a hard drive full of unedited video content. Who knows what this deranged fan will come back for next time. There's a place in Niagara Falls, known only as the Screaming Tunnel, a short pathway where a maniac father is said to have huffed out the life of his own daughter in a fit of rage, then accidentally set himself ablaze after spilling oil from his lantern and lighting a match. Ever since this terrible event, the tunnel refuses to hold a flame of any kind. Now a group of friends want to see if the legend is true. This is the first attempt.
Pause it.
At 2 minutes and 6 seconds, there's a spark with no flame. Weird, right? Well, it's about to get a whole lot weirder. With no wind at all. One of them even puts their hands in front just to make sure. They try again.
We're going through this box, dude.
Still nothing. I was thinking maybe the matches were wet or something, but no, not at all. I think this match would have stayed lit if they were anywhere but in the Screaming Tunnel. And of course, once they step outside...
You don't favor them.
Outside the tunnel, the match stays lit up.
And it's not like one of them didn't know how to light a match or something, and another one could. Whoever this is wears a necklace in both shots. It's the same person the whole time. So with this evidence in mind, the only conclusion I can come to is that the Screaming Tunnel is all too real. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Crystal Hill 0193, this Redditor wrote, "Checking out an abandoned school when we were chased out. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
It doesn't matter to me. Another throwback.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. lit_FUS3D wrote, "Scared out, I'd say." To which the uploader responded saying, "We were on the highest floor, nobody was above us, but yet it came from above us, and when we got out of the building we heard footsteps running at us. Perhaps there was someone else in the building that day, and they weren't expecting visitors. Or perhaps this abandoned school truly is haunted. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments. What is this being lurking in the forest? YouTuber Fish On Fish Out returned to his favorite fishing spot with the boys when he spotted this. What was that? I'm not sure what that is. Could it be pareidolia? Maybe, but I think it's a demon lurking, angry that they took his favorite fishing hole. A man in Russia goes exploring a field by the side of the road with a metal detector and detects a ghost instead.
Привидение. І ще так світиться іменно як фосфор, таким зеленим, таким класно, яскраво.
Off in the distance is what he suspects could be the apparition of a roadside phantom. It's pretty bizarre, but this image taken at 7 minutes and 11 seconds looks more like a roadside marker than anything paranormal. The only problem is I have no idea what the road signs look like in Russia. So tell me if this is one of them or not, then we'll all know if this video is paranormal. There's nothing else like it on this whole stretch of road, and he's never seen it before. So maybe he's making it up, or maybe it's something weird after all. A ghost hunter in India named Grey Wolf describes exploring this haunted school as unexplainable, a terrifying event that has left him never the same. They set up a summoning circle in one of the most haunted places in the whole school. Tell me what they are saying because it sounds like a kind of ritual spell, one that seems to work all too well. They need to go back and end the ceremony or be haunted forever, so they regather themselves and march back to the room as one. Tell me what he says to the spirit to make this happen. Apparently the spirit never wants to be unsummoned, and so it's taken the candles away, or maybe Grey Wolf simply covered the camera with his hand to make it look like the candles went out, at which point he stopped recording, removed the candles from the circle, and began recording again. If there's no editing though, then you have to agree this is beyond scary. These underground tunnels in Manchester, England were once used to escape air raids in the 1940s. Countless people huddled for their lives down here in mass, and their collective theory is thought to have left a haunting impression ever since. Now a YouTube channel called Dark Arts TV investigates these tunnels to see what he can discover with his own eyes. It isn't long before his blue light shines upon a rail-thin figure standing at a bizarre angle. They are a good distance away, but it looks like they might be wearing baggy trousers and a vest with oversized sleeves, reminiscent of the 40s era. If this is not a ghost to you, then what do you think this is? As he turns the corner, his camera picks up what appears to be a pair of human legs hanging out a small hole in the wall. What's most terrifying is how Dark Arts TV doesn't seem to notice the legs at the time, as if they weren't visible in real life. And to further back this theory, when you pause at 24 minutes and 28 seconds, the beam of his flashlight seems to move through them. Finally, as they prepare to leave, they encounter this shadowy face directly behind them. It doesn't look like a person per se, but rather the fading memory of someone who was present, now doomed to repeat a terrifying moment forever.
Eyebrows, a hairline, the chin. You can even see at the bottom here, if you can just catch the end of my thumb, where I'm covering now, there you can see the line of his neck as his head is bent round the corner.
While hiking in the woods of Slovakia, this hiker didn't realize he was being stalked until it was nearly too late. Published by Lion Plays Mobile in January of 2022, this hiker is capturing video in the woods as forest noises sound all around him. After a moment, you can see something large in the trees, rattling them aggressively. The unknown creature roars, and the hiker drops his camera downward and starts running. What is haunting the forests of Slovakia? Is it a bear or something out of a horror story? A statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night if this video is to be believed, which I have trouble doing, aside from looking like possible special effects, because of the awkward way the statue moves. The way the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident makes contact is too much of a coincidence. This would be really creepy to see in real life, but that'd be the only way I'd be convinced that this video is actually real. This video requires a bit of backstory. In 1961, Massachusetts housewife Stella Lansing started to experience things of an extraterrestrial nature, including men in black, humanoids, UFOs, and otherworldly visions. She captured much of her experiences on various types of film. It wasn't until 1967 that Stella bought a silent 8mm film camera. Although she'd taken photographs of the odd sightings, the film camera captured more strange images and structures that Stella never saw in person, but that turned up on film. And yet again, Stella came across the strange lights while driving on Route 32. She exited her car to see them better, as did another driver. The lights were yellowish and, as Stella described, silently walking from east to west to the old cemetery. The other driver had also seen the lights. This was Stella's chance to catch the orbs on her 8mm camera, so she headed back home to retrieve it and then returned to the intersection. More lights appeared, with one of the red ones bouncing like a rubber ball, as she described. A friend showed up and the pair watched the lights together until they burst into a white light. As she continued her recording of these strange events into the 70s, she discovered an odd clock-like pattern on her photos and films, as well as geometric pattern overlapping the frames on the film itself. The mystery only grew in 1991 when a TV show called Sightings did a segment on Stella's video logs. When they exported her silent 8mm film to VHS, unknown voices were heard. Stella has since passed away in 2012, and no one can explain the mystery of her sightings. Kriparian is live streaming some Hearthstone when he gets into a scary Twitch moment that has his subscribers screaming that there's a ghost in the window. The unknown person leaves for a bit and then comes back only to open the door and help himself to something right by the door. Within 3 seconds, he is gone again.
Actually, where is my bag? Where's the bag?
Knowledge is...
His girlfriend goes out to investigate and finds them with the bag in one of the other rooms. They told her they thought it was theirs, but it's pretty clear from the sarcasm in Kriparian's reply that he doesn't believe them at all.
Oh, they thought it was their bag. Oh, yeah.
So this is one of the most popular and often talked about scary Twitch moments in the history of the platform, and yet a lot of people still don't know the full story. He was at a gaming event and apparently the person at the window was another live streamer who was actually hanging out with them earlier. If you look really closely, he does seem to put his hand up and knock on the glass at 25 seconds to try and get their attention. Nobody hears him though, so rather than disturb the live stream any further, he quietly opens the door and takes what he thought he left behind. I really doubt that anyone would be foolish enough to take something from a popular live streamer who is blatantly live streaming to thousands of people. So it seems like a simple case of miscommunication that was later blown way out of proportion by the internet. Sometimes those abandoned buildings that some urban explorers enter are not entirely abandoned. In fact, in some cases, they're the stomping grounds for the occult. Published to YouTube by Lego Papa TV in March of 2020. Papa was likely not expecting to be chased down by a hooded stranger performing a ritual in a house where lives have been taken, but that's exactly what happened. He writes, "This is probably the scariest moment of my life I ever had. When moments like this happens, out of nowhere you put yourself in a situation that your mind goes blank." Papa explores the dark dwelling, which certainly gives off an aura that something terrible happened here. The house is utterly destroyed, littered with garbage, ransacked, covered with graffiti, and generally torn apart. As many in the comments point out, there were wet footprints at the doorstep, which may indicate that somebody recently entered the house, or was in fact there, or was still in fact there at the same time. And soon Papa discovers he is not alone. As he wanders throughout the house, he hears noises.
I know she stepped upstairs. Hello, anybody here?
He even sees a flashlight as someone searches for him while he hides out in a bathroom. For some reason, despite all this, he continues exploring the house, ending up in the basement, but when he hears distinctive footsteps overhead, he hightails it out of there. Likely because it dawns on him that if he was to remain in the basement, he'd be completely trapped. It seems he escaped just in time. As he runs off into the woods, he glances back to capture a hooded person on camera, standing on the porch steps. If he had left a minute later, who knows what might have happened. While sitting around playing video games, little did this guy know he was about to be in one. Published by C. Sano Act in November of 2011, this guy was hanging out in the living room when he heard something from the kitchen. Getting up to check it out, he doesn't seem to see anything of substance, but something of substance knocks him to the floor. He's dragged across the room and out of sight. Is this ghost hinting that he should get his homework done? Or does this house have a serious poltergeist in residence? It'd be hard to ignore after an incident like this. This scary video captured an inhuman humanoid figure lurking over a human habitat, and it has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Taken in someone's backyard, you first see a pool with trees beyond. It looks as though the cameraman is searching for something in the foliage. He then turns to the roof of the home. The roof at first seems to be empty, but when the cameraman turns completely to the right, this terrifying figure is spotted. Its fleshy skin is a raw sunburnt pink, its limbs are somewhat elongated, its shoulders are hunchbacked, and its pinhead is on a neck that's uncannily long. The creepiest part of it is that the figure is looking right at him. It stays still for a second, its eyes glowing as it watches the unsuspecting cameraman, before leaping with cat-like reflexes over the other side of the roof and out of sight. If this footage is real, then I have no idea what this thing possibly was. Live TV caught the earth-trembling tsunami that smashed into Japan. After a magnitude 9 quake on March 11, 2011, the images that followed are pretty terrifying. The earthquake was so powerful that it was felt everywhere, from the fjords in Norway to the ice sheet of Antarctica. It was so powerful that it redistributed the Earth's mass and shifted it on its axis. Our day's length has been cut short by a microsecond. It was so powerful that Honshu, Japan's main island, was moved about 8 feet east, and as the tsunami traversed the Pacific, 110,000 nesting seabirds were taken out by the 5-foot wave. It was so powerful that aftershocks continued to hit Japan during the year that followed, 5,000 to be exact. It was so powerful that 6 years later, and the tsunami's devastation is still being dealt with in Japan, where of the 150,000 evacuees still left, whose homes were lost to the quake, a third are still in temporary housing. As for the cost of damages in US dollars, it rang in at about 199 billion, but because the earthquake was followed up by the tsunami, and both were unexpected, the 2-in-1 had devastating results. It got worse. A cooling system failure resulted from the tsunami at the Fukushima nuclear power plant, releasing radioactive materials. A horrible event in and of itself. Told you, nature can be terrifying. A group of ghost hunters called PXTV go deep in the Wombwell Woods, a haunted forest in the UK where many people sadly go to take their lives. They split up to cover maximum ground, and one of them, Steve, finds a spot he deems suitable to begin an EVP session, which stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon. He sets up his EVP box and asks any spirits nearby to make a light go on. When it does, he asks for 2 lights, but gets this verbal warning instead.
Can you make 2 lights light up? Ovilus has just said run.
But something descends upon Steve before he gets a chance to do as told. I didn't exactly see anything, but Steve says that he was pushed out of the way by something nearby. And when he looks at his EVP box, the translator displays the word run written in all capitals. I'm not sure if there's any way to tamper with these devices and make them say pre-programmed messages or not, but assuming this video really is unaltered, then the evidence is all right there to see. It's early in the morning when somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, and I mean that literally. The silhouette of a hand silently beckons beneath his brother's bed. The uploader of this video says the creepy shadow hand appeared one morning without warning and that it's real. I guess he was too afraid to go under the bed and find out what it was because the video ends then and there. Can't say I blame him. Hopefully somebody is holding their arm over the bed to create an illusion with their shadow of a hand reaching out, because otherwise this is just beyond creepy. When American Airlines Flight 280 took off from Seoul, South Korea, heading to Dallas, none of the 240 passengers aboard the flight knew they were about to take the scariest ride of their lives, but that's just what happened. The plane encountered severe turbulence, which was caught on camera by passengers. The turbulence was so severe that the flight was diverted to Tokyo. After 15 people aboard the flight were injured, 5 of them being hospitalized. One passenger, Mark Stanley, an attorney in Dallas, told the Morning News they were diverted after 45 plus minutes of insane turbulence. The remaining passengers were put up in Tokyo for the night, but not sure if I'd have the stomach to get back on a plane the next day. This home in Bethel, Washington, has been overtaken by an evil force that refuses to go away. Paranormal experts from all over the world have been baffled by their findings, like this team for example. First, motion sensors repeatedly detect movement in areas where nothing is visible to the eye. What's especially weird is how the tripwires stop beeping whenever the investigators are near. Grunts, growls, and strange laughter echo throughout the house as well. Here's an example of the same laugh caught on multiple cameras.
You maybe direct it a little bit better.
All of the noises sound like they are the right distance away in each shot, so this is probably real. When you can command a door to open and close, you may just have The Gift, published by the Scottish Ghost Company. In February of 2022, this investigation of an industrial complex turned super creepy when the investigators' commands were granted. The pair is alone in the warehouse aside from the ghosts. You can hear them communicating via the spirit box in the adjacent hangar throughout the video. The pair approaches a door and asks the spirit to open it if he or she is still with them.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
In answer, the door slowly swings open. A moment later, when asked to close the door, the spirit acquiesces, slamming the door shut.
Really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Many in the comments call this activity mind-blowing and wonder if it's real. Is this a portal to another world? Step on through if you dare.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
A TikTok user by the name of Baddest Bunny on the Block uses Randonautica in search of creepy stuff with a story to tell. The TikTok app takes them to one of the scariest Randonautica finds on this list. By a river near a bus station, they find a discarded tarp by a mound of freshly dug earth. Under the blue tarp is a shredded black trash bag, inside of which they find a shovel and an object covered in red. Before you think they put this here themselves, consider the fact that she calls the police, who take interest in the scene and actually collect evidence instead of shrugging it off. Based on their reactions, I think she might be onto something. Sometimes you can see something that looks vaguely familiar until it completely surprises you. Posted by a major malfunction, this strange figure was caught by a security camera in Turkey. Watch closely to catch what it does. The small figure appears to be trailing across the road, walking upright. It twirls, at moments disappears, then is captured again, meandering around whimsically. Suddenly it moves forward, then takes off into the air, gliding smoothly upward, all the while twirling in place. It rises, floating, gliding, and soon is out of sight. The timestamp says this occurred in February of 2016 at around 2 in the morning. What is this thing? Of course, theories abound in the comments section, with the most common suggestion being a helium balloon. If that was the case though, wouldn't its movements be more sporadic? And that doesn't explain its sudden reincarnation. Miss ROCIO 4441 published this haunting video in June of 2011, alleging a ghost at the local McDonald's who appeared there at night between 2:30 and 2:50 a.m. In the video, you can certainly see what appears to be a shadow floating around the restaurant. According to the YouTuber, the security camera only turns on when it captures movement. One person in the comments claims to work at this very McDonald's. Ya boy Dan 916 said, "I work night shifts in this store and I get the creeps all the time." Viewers disputed this video as well though, while some saying it could be a bug on the lens. I don't know though, but watching the shadow move around this footage certainly gives me the creeps. Could it be a past customer or McDonald's employee who passed away at this restaurant? I guess we'll never know. This 4-part TikTok series is a journey. Posted by Breadcrumb and Beaver's Pit, the TikToker was working her shift when she spotted something creepy between a crack in the ceiling tiles. It looks like an old man's face or a shrunken head.
So I was staring at my ceiling right at work, and then I see this light right, and I go over here.
In the second video, the TikToker reveals the outside of this building. She says part of the building was a school from the 1920s. She enters the kitchen. The face thing is still exactly where it was last time, seemingly peering through the cracks. She tries to lift the ceiling tile using a broom. At this point, she thinks it's either insulation or a rope.
Here's the legendary area. It's still there. Just chilling. The villain.
Next video sees her climbing up a stepladder to investigate. After lifting the tile, you don't really see the face thing, but you do see that there's a whole other room up there. In the last video, the mystery is solved. Lifting the ceiling tile, you can see what the object is. As the OP suggested earlier, a rope. What was it used for? The OP's theory is an old school bell, although you may think the saga is over. Some in the comments are seeing and hearing new mysteries. One hears something crying in this last clip, and some even claim to see a new person peering down at her. I am not personally seeing or hearing any of that, so we'll just stick with the rope. Mystery solved. An outdoor restaurant is about to be creepy, and it's all caught on CCTV tape. This top right couple seems to be having an intense conversation. At 10 seconds, there's some chest pounding on both sides. It looks like a bad breakup or something until 25 seconds when he stands up and is ready to storm out, but then points at the food lodged in his throat. They weren't having an argument at all. He was slowly becoming more and more unable to breathe. She starts patting him on the back, but apparently this is a big mistake. I am not giving any medical advice, but the Mayo Clinic says not to do this unless you're trained to deliver a special back blow between the shoulder blades. From what I've read, patting someone on the back can sometimes make the food move further down the windpipe and get even more stuck. A brave restaurant worker gets behind him, makes a fist with one hand slightly above the belly button, grabs his fist and gives a quick upward thrust as if picking him off the ground for a moment. This is called the Heimlich maneuver, and it's a good thing somebody in the restaurant knew it. Most states have laws in place for restaurant staff to have this kind of training, and this scary scenario caught on tape is exactly why. I encourage everyone to get the proper training because you never know when this could happen to someone nearby, maybe even you. There must be no scarier feeling than having an entire crowd watch you helplessly while you can't breathe. This man who helped him is truly a hero. That possessed this girl may have been exorcised, but it never left this place. YouTube channel Chamos investigates this abandoned house in which a girl underwent her exorcism. This is what happened. First, the presentation.
Opa! Isso, se afasta, se afasta. Isso? Ai, meu Deus! Olha isso! Olha isso, cara!
Why is the demon presenting this terrifying toy doll? It also moves a chair.
Meu Deus, cara! Deixa eu ali, velho.
A moment later, the baby crib is gone. Things keep moving.
Cara, e essa menina de novo? Essa menina de novo, cara. Olha isso. Meu Deus, cara.
Notice the sound, you'll soon see what it is.
Olha só, cara. Olha só o poder desse demônio, velho. Oh, meu Deus do céu, velho. Tá maluco, velho. Sai daí, velho. Sai daí, cara. Olha aí, velho. Tá maluco, cara.
Later, as they're getting a reading on their K2, something even creepier unfolds.
Que é aquilo lá? Olha isso, cara. Olha isso, cara. Meu Deus do céu, velho. Olha isso. Que é isso, velho? Vocês estão vendo isso? Vocês estão vendo isso, cara? Meu Deus do céu, velho. Meu Deus, cara. Cara do céu, velho.
Was that doll floating, descending, or is it ascending to new heights? No matter what the answer is, I'd be getting the heck out of this place, eh? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.